Hey everybody, it's Marshall Monkey here, and yes, we have to talk about it. We have to talk about Deadpool 2. Yes, this is going to be my Deadpool 2 review, and I know what you're thinking. Why did it take so long for this video? As well as Solo, and both those videos are coming up, and we're going to talk about that. But yes, Deadpool 2, big deal, this movie, and I have to say a lot of things about it, but you guys know how it goes. The first half of this video will be spoiler-free, and the second half will be spoilers, and I'll warn you when spoilers are coming up because there's, again, a lot to talk about because I don't know how I feel about this movie quite yet. And I've already seen it once. I don't know if I'm going to see it again. Probably not, to be honest with you, and here's why. So, Deadpool 2. I think that the biggest difference from Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2 is the director, right? I mean, I just loved Tim Miller and I loved what he did with the first Deadpool, but David Leitch did a really good job too. And I think that that's fair to say David Leitch did a good job because he's a good director, right? I mean, he directed Charlize Theron's Atomic Blonde. He also did the John Wick movies with Keanu Reeves, right? So he's a pretty good guy, right? With a really good track record. So I don't blame Fox being like, I want you. But, however, I just really clinged to Tim Miller's version a lot more. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's hard to top that, right? Maybe, but we'll talk about that. So, why is Deadpool 2 not as good as the first Deadpool? Well, first of all, I just think that this one had a lot of trouble with the humor. I just didn't think it was that funny, to be quite honest with you. I mean, when it was funny to me, it was really funny, and I laughed out loud. But when I didn't like some of the funny moments, I was like, right? Like I was just kind of like, I don't know about this. However, again, when it did make me laugh when it was supposed to, right? That's the good thing. But I also found out that a lot of Ryan Reynolds' references to his humor are inaccessible to younger audiences, meaning teenagers and young adults, right? All the older adults that were in the movie knew a lot of the references he was referencing too, but when it came to the younger audiences, totally over their heads, right? It was just totally over my head completely. And it was just crazy, right? I don't know how that would happen. The action, however, was really good in this movie, and that's something that I think Tim Miller lacked, which is crazy because he's a really good action director, especially in animation, because he directed the DC Universe Online trailer, which is one of the best DC action sequences in animation ever, right? So I don't understand how he could really lack in action sequences here, but it's okay, right? I mean, who cares, right? It'll happen eventually for him, whatever he does next. However, I really would like to see him go to DC, and I'd really like Tim Miller to direct the Batman instead of Matt Reeves. But maybe that's another video for another time. Sorry, Matt Reeves. But again, the action was good, the humor was alright, and the cast was just stellar. I love the new additions. Josh Brolin knocked it out of the park. This is really just his month, right? I mean, or I guess it's last couple months or with Infinity War and now Deadpool 2. What will he join next, right? Because he's already been in DC with Jonah Hex, but that was kind of a mistake, to be honest with you. But I think that Josh Brolin did really well. Zazie Beetz, though, I really like Zazie Beetz, but we'll talk why it wasn't the most important, I think, performance in the entire the entire movie. However, I really do need to give a shout out to one of my favorites in the actual movie, and I just don't even know his name at this point. So let me look it up because he was honestly a stellar actor. All right, so I think his name it was I can't remember his name in the movie. What was his name? Julian Dennison. That's what it was. Julian Dennison as Fire Fist was a really, really good choice because he was not only just as good as Ryan Reynolds and Josh Brolin, but maybe even at some points better. Oh, I can't believe I just said that, but it's true. I think he did a really good job in this, and I think that honestly he deserves a lot more credit where credit is due. I mean, this kid was just throwing him against the ropes the entire movie, so I thought that he did really well there. And I think that the setting was really great. It just visually looked really good as a movie. But there are tons of things that I had problems with this movie that I don't really want to say because I'm trying to save it for the spoiler half. But overall, I did like the movie because it was enjoyable and it pushed the boundaries just as Deadpool does. There was a lot of less nudity and a lot of less sexual scenes in this movie, and more focused on the action, which is what I think is good for the movie because that means younger audiences kind of have a little bit of leeway when it comes to seeing it. So if you're not totally for the sexual scenes in the last movie, good news, there really isn't any in this film. So that's a good thing. For that. But overall, it was enjoyable. The action was great. Humor was decent, right, for me anyway. And I did have a fun time watching this movie, and so will you. But let's get to the spoiler half. Oh, how exciting is that? Deadpool 2 has some issues personally for me. I don't know if it has issues for anybody else, but for me, oh, I was cringing. First of all, I cringed really hard when they pulled an Infinity War here. Yes, that's right. Oh, it's bad. David Leitch pulled an Infinity War in Deadpool 2. Why am I saying this? Well, because Marina Bachman was killed off minutes, not like an hour, minutes into the first film. How ridiculous is this? I just think it's the same thing as killing off Gamora in Infinity War. Because to be honest with you, Infinity War really fridged Gamora. Zoe Saldana should be terrified for what's happening next with her character. Because as we've seen, Marvel and Disney don't care about her. And I think that the same thing can be said here with Marina Bachman. Because I just think it was so sad. Vanessa being killed off in a cheesy, bad way, right? Where it's just kind of like, really? Are you kidding me? And then totally to just set up the entire movie. It was just really bad. Now, of course, they did bring her back in the end credit scene, but that's kind of like cheaping out, right? You're just kind of like, I don't know about that. You kind of just cheaped out on it. And to be honest, that really wasn't fair. It just really wasn't. To be honest, it was kind of sad. And I really think that if they want to do something interesting with her as a character, they should honestly just make her copycat. I mean, how freaking hard is it to make her a mutant? Because it honestly was set up perfectly in the first film and just totally dropped off there. So I thought it was really bad. But overall, Miranda Bachman, with what she was given, she did really well here. So that's really good. But I also didn't understand why the heck Deadpool was going back and forth from death to real life. Maybe that's a reference to death in the comics, like the actual character. I don't really know. Maybe. I mean, who knows at this point? But I think it would really be interesting to see Death appear in the X-Men movies or the Marvel movies. Whoever gets X-Men next, and that's a really complicated deal with Comcast and Fox involved with Disney. We'll see what happens with that deal because I'm as a little bit skeptical of what's going to be happening there. We'll see though. But overall, I was just really disappointed with the fridging of Vanessa. It was just, again, another Infinity War situation, and I hated that. And they're both two movies that were right next to each other in terms of release. So you'd think that it would just, give off some more red flags for people. But it didn't, which is really weird. Also, I didn't really like how they kind of downsized Negasonic and Colossus in this movie. I know it was to make room for Domino, for Cable, right, for Julian Dennison's character, right, Fire Fist. But honestly, it was just really, it was annoying, right? Especially the X-Force. Now, I laughed out loud when they were killed off, but I was like, why are you just going to waste all these characters? I mean, it just doesn't really make sense to me of how you would do that. I mean, of course, Peter was saved because he's Peter, but I don't understand why the rest of them were all killed off, especially Billy Skarsgård. I think Bill Skarsgård could have done a lot better with what he was given, but that's just my opinion. I just thought it was totally off, and I didn't really like that at all. It really felt like, it really felt forced to me in some opinion, in some ways, right? Like it kind of felt forced that they were killed off so quickly. And maybe that was just what they were going for humor, but it just didn't really work with me at all. Domino, love Zazie Beetz, didn't get a lot of screen time in this movie, which is kind of disappointing because she was a huge selling point, right? I mean, that's such false advertisement. Infinity War did the same thing with Captain America and Black Widow, right? Totally false advertised them. They were like barely in the movie, right? And so was Zazie Beetz here, which is really kind of sad because I was really getting to know her version of Domino. And Zazie Beetz, I think, I'm not really for sure on this, but I think that Zazie Beetz is campaigning for a solo film for Domino. Maybe. That's what I'm thinking. But how interesting would that be for her to be in her own solo movie, right? An origin movie is what I've been hearing around the internet. Please, right? I'd love to see a Domino solo film. But it's probably never going to happen because, unfortunately, we don't really get female solo movies that often, which is sad, right? Especially because of the whole Black Widow situation over at Marvel. Kevin Feige, why wouldn't you make us our Black Widow movie? Which is kind of sad because Deadpool actually described her in the movie as Black Widow. Oh, so that's so terrible, right? So it was just really, it was a bad situation. And what I also didn't like was the third act. I thought the third act of Deadpool 2 kind of got a little muddled at some points, right? I just thought it just kind of went on forever, right? And the whole Juggernaut situation, CGI needed a little bit of work there. I mean, I'm not going to judge by CGI because, it works. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, right? I mean, it makes sense. Justice League kind of had a falling out with their CGI. Deadpool 2 here had a little bit of a falling out, right? I think that Marvel and Disney are the only ones who can really afford that top-notch CGI that they need, right? Because Infinity War had a way bigger budget than both Justice League and Deadpool 2, or at least Justice League to my knowledge, right? I mean, we're not really sure, but let's be honest, it just seems like it. But overall, I think Deadpool 2 again is a fun movie that everyone can kind of get behind. I really liked it a lot, and I think that a lot of people are also going to like it. But what do you guys think about Deadpool 2? Did you like it? Did you not like it? And are you looking forward to seeing any more Deadpool movies? If they are going to be created, I don't know. It just depends on how that whole deal with Fox and Disney goes down. Comcast is really being a big stickler about it, but we'll see. But that's all I have for now for this review of Deadpool 2. But what do you guys think? Again, comment down below, like, favorite, and subscribe. And I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.